Hey YouTube, how you doing? Kevin here coming at you with another video. This is going to be part 2 of the modification of the plate. And, what do you call it there? I told you on my last video that there was the two marks. I just want to get this part right here. This is the, there's two marks right here. You can see the circles. And you got to center punch them. Scratch that. For the Moto 4, it is actually bigger. Okay? So, scratch that. I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay? Alright, so I went ahead. I'm going to show you some of the tools you're going to need. You are going to need a Dremel or some type of grinding tool. Okay, we need that. We need a Dremel. And I'll show you what the bits look like. You could use a regular drill too. If you don't have a Dremel, you can use a regular drill. It's just a little harder. And show what these bits look like. They're just side cutting bits. They're for grinding sideways. They cut through the aluminum really, really well. I do not know the name of these. I've had these for a very long time, and I've got so many of them. I never had to buy them, and they don't seem to wear out. So there's a couple in that one. I got a ton of these tubes with them. I got another set here. I got like a bunch of these. I picked them up at a yard sale or something. You're gonna need a flat file. You're gonna need a round file. Chainsaw files work excellent, and I used a little small flat file. Like I said, this is on if you're I try to do videos that are basic and simple. This one's a little bit more complex, so I use the scale from 1 to 5. This is more of a 4 to 5. You know, this is kind of a big, complicated one. You know what I mean? So keep that in mind. The points one was simple. I mean, that was easy peasy, lemon squeezy. This one's a lot more complicated. Alright, so here is the actual CDI off of my my Ke100 build. Okay, and flip it down this way. So I wanted to show you actually what I had to do. Alright, I had to see right here in the red, traced out in the red, I had to grind all that out. So let's put it underneath the light. I moved it over. See if I can get you guys on top of it. Hold on. Bear with me for a second. See all that red? I had to grind all that out. And I had to cut off 2 of the banks. Right here. Okay? I'll show you what those right here. I had to cut these off. These are actually part of the castings right here on both sides. To do that, I used a regular hacksaw, just a hacksaw blade, and just, you know, lobbed them off and then followed it down flat. So you can see how much I've actually taken off right here. So then after I got this all opened up, okay, to make clearance for the coil, alright, I'm going to move you guys back over here. Alright, so after I opened up the spot for the coil, okay, I then had to take the original, what do you call it, generator, the original magneto, take a couple of its bolts, you only need 2 bolts because you already took off 2 of the mounts, and screw this back onto the plate. I'll get in there. Okay, you take the 2 screws, mount the, don't tighten it, just snug it. Okay, we're gonna mount that back in on the 2 original mounts that are there. Okay. Then I take a lead pencil, just a regular pencil, not a pen, not a marker. And do you see right here where these poles are? I complete the circle. So I had to go over and trace right down here on this side, and then right here on this side, I had to basically freehand a, you know, to make the circle. That's the inside diameter of your magnet. After you draw them, you know, gap them, make sure they're, you know, it's a circle. Retake this off. Okay, remember when I told you you needed those 2 screws? Now you're all done with these 2 screws. You don't need these screws no more. You're going to need to get longer ones for this project. Remember, they're 4mm screws, and they're about 1/4 of an inch longer. So the screws that you took off of that generator, magneto, you're all done with those. You don't need those no more. You got to buy 2 longer ones, 1/4 inch longer than factory. So basically, you can take the 2 that are in there out, go to the hardware store and get 2 more that are 1/4 inch longer, and make sure that you have lock washers on them. Okay? Alright. While you're at the hardware store, you're going to need these little spaces. These are little aluminum spaces. They're about 1/4 inch tall. And you're not going to get the one that has 1/4 inch. What you're going to do is you're going to get the one that is actually too small. You can't put it in. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your Dremel and you go and bore it out so it just fits. You want a nice snug fit. You don't want a 1/4 inch one, which is too big, and then the screw's going to be all flopping in there. Okay, you're going to have to open that one up yourself. Or if you have a small file, you can use a small file to open it up. Okay, so after you get that done, you're going to take your coil right here, and you're going to stick that in. Like so, that's what it's going to look like when it's all said and done. But right now, we're not worried about that. Right now, we're going to keep these poles right here on the back side of that line that you just made. Alright? You're going to line it up. You're going to use your pencil. Center mark them. Okay? Make sure they're centered. You're going to center punch them like I showed you. And then you're going to drill out the holes. Once you drill out the holes, you're going to need, for this particular job, you're going to need a number 30 drill bit. Okay? It has to be a 30. It cannot be anything else other than a 30. Because you're going to tap it. Okay? You're going to use a tap right here. And you're going to make threads. If you go too big, your tap won't catch and you'll have no threads. If you go too small, you'll snap your tap. Okay? So it's a number 30 tap right there. And it tells you, I use Irwin bits. I love these bits. They're good quality bits. These are what I use. Okay? If you look down here, it says for use with 30 drill bit. Okay, so it's a 4mm tap by 0.70, and it uses a number 30 drill bit. Okay. Then we tap the holes. So for that, we take some oil, a little bit of oil, and we're going to tap it. Two, three, back up. 1, 2, 3, 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 back up. It's going to come out the other side. You can see the little metal there. 1, 2, 3, back up. That clears the threads, by the way. You don't just wind it all the way in and then forget about it. And then at the end, when you come all the way through, you can just go all the way in. Once it's all the way in, take your rag, clean it up, then you back it out. Okay, and you do the same thing to the other one. Always try to drill straight down. Same thing with tapping. Okay, get started. One, two, three, back up. 1, 2, 3, 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 back up. If you're going through steel, you might want to, you have to be careful because it'll bind if you don't clear it out, and then you can snap your tap. Nothing worse than snapping a tap. Go gentle with them. If they feel like they're getting tight, back up. Sometimes you might have to clean the threads out. All the way through, wind it in, then back it up. Like I said, this is a real heavy duty, what do you call it there, modification. That's why I'm doing it in these videos. Okay, so now my holes are tapped out. Back and front, everything looks good. Clean it up, you don't want no metal in there. Remember, your crankshaft seal's on the other side of this thing. Okay. So now I got my holes tapped out, and it's quite a thick. It's pretty thick right here. So if you can see that, it's about a 1/2 inch thick right there in those spots. All right. So now we're gonna take the cord. We're gonna end up taking some of the wiring off anyway. So I'm gonna trim it down a little bit, keeping my reference wires. So it's got the what do you call it? Yellow with the red and the white. Okay. Put that down like this. Then I'm going to take my my longer screws and my 2 spaces, which are 1/4 inch spaces, by the way. Screw through the spacer onto the part we just tapped. Once you screw it on, you get a couple of screws down, a couple threads. Put the other side together the same way. Okay. Make sure you don't pinch any wires. And there you have, it'll be this way. And there you have your 12 volt magneto and your CDI, and they're at the proper height. Nothing's, if you go bigger than a 1/4 inch, you'll be way up over height. Okay, because this thing has to be level across the top. This is very important. See how it's level right there? If you go up, what's going to happen is when the flywheel is on there, it's going to rub, hit, and short out and everything else. So that right there is how it's going to look in the bike. So you get your charging coil, which is heavy duty charging coil, by the way. Your CDI. That's what it's going to look like on your KEs. Okay, and you get plenty of clearance all the way around, which is very important. Keep in mind, for you people who haven't done this before, this is a pretty serious modification, okay? And you're gonna have to watch this video probably over and over and over again. And I'm gonna tell you, do a don't screw them in all the way on the first time. What you're gonna want to do is leave them loose so you can fit it, because you may have to go back in with a grinder or a file and just shave it down a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, this is the first time putting this coil on here. You saw me just tap it. I'm not really happy with how close that wire is right there, so I'm going to go in after and I'm going to shave it down a little bit and give myself a little bit more room with that, you know. But other than that, I'm happy with the way it came out. So very happy with the way it came out, and I'll be able to continue. So I mean, look how nice it looks. You know what I mean? So give yourself a little bit of you know, space to play. You know, if you have something like this, you know, mark it and say, okay, like this right here, I'm not really comfortable with how close that is on that side and over here on this side. You know, then what you do, just simply take it apart. And do that modification, okay? Don't lose your spaces. Don't forget your pill bottle. And then you can go from there and then do your modification. You can grind that out a little bit if you have to, okay? So this is part 2. I've already did the grinding, so I'm not. You wouldn't even be able to hear the video. It'd just be screeching. So it is very loud. And I basically used the grinder wheel and brought it in the back side and opened it up. You know, just basically the thing's spinning, it's like a drill, and just kind of like open it up. You know what I mean? Do that, file it, open it up that way, and then you'll be able to use that plate. So I got the plate drilled and tapped. When you're looking at it, after you made your lines, you're going to look straight down upon it when it's all screwed together. Make sure that these poles are on the back side of the line you made. See that line I made? It had to be on that side. If it's on this side, it'll hit the flywheel, and you'll never even be able to put it on. So you want to make sure that it's as close as you can to that line that you just made when you did the circle, and you're good to go. There's no real air gap for it. You know what I mean? So there's no real clearance. Just make sure it's on the back side of your of that line that you put on there. And that is pretty much it. So I'm going to do my little bit of modification to make myself really happy with the way how cozy it fits in there. And then tomorrow night, we're going to solder the wires onto it, and we're going to finish off this plate. So that's tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll finish off this plate, and then we'll move on to the voltage regulator. Like I said, I try to do my things like you find on a model, on a little kit model that you put together. I try to do on a scale of 1 to 5. This is like 4 and 5. Okay, this is for experienced. If you're not experienced, here's what you do to get the experience. Take your time. It's real simple. Take your time. Okay, watch the video. Do like I said, mark it out. Okay, see where you need the clearances. Take my video, I'll blow it up for you. I might actually do a, on the third video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw out the specifications of how much material you're going to have to, you know, grind out. That right there will help you. I'm going to put that on the screen, then you can measure it out and make a template on yourself and be able to, you know, say, okay, I got to grind out this right here. Grind it, drill it, tap it. Okay? Remember, don't be afraid of it. It's not going to bite you, but you do need to take your time. It's very important. Okay? So when you got these things screwed in, you want to make sure that they're in the right place, doing the right thing at the right particular time. And these bosses are at different spots, so one looks like it's closer to the edge than the other. That's okay. It's going to be like that. That's where it's adjusted. Okay? So just mark them, make sure it goes into a full circle, and you are good to go. And I shaved off, you see how I made it look? I shaved it right here because of the boss. See if I can fold, there we go. There were 2 of these right here on it. And to get those off, I didn't grind them because that just take too long. I just put the saw in there and grind it and cut them off. Make sure you don't cut into your CDI. Once you get those off, it's nice and shaved. File it down, and you're good to go. Remember, that's a number 30 drill bit, and a 4mm 0.70 pitch, and you're good to go. That's it. That's pretty much it. So I'm gonna dress up a couple of little spots. I'll give you guys a template with some measurements of length, and then the little nubbies there that you have to grind out, and we'll go from there. I'll post those on the page, and you guys will be all set. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. If you have any questions or any comments, by all means, please send them my way. I'm really happy to be able to do this for you and make the bike a 12-volt system. So this is the 6-volt system. We're going to make this thing a 12-volt system and make it a little bit more modern. It's going to blow people's mind when they see a if you know what it is, a Ke100 coming down fully LED'd and bright as heck. And this, what's nice about this charging system for the what do you call it there? For the Yamaha Moto, okay, this system is designed for this charging system is designed for an electric start bike, okay. And the reason why that is so, you're probably like, okay, my bike don't have electric start. Here's why. This thing has a lot more current coming out of it. It's fat. Look how fat that coil is. Okay, it's basically going to charge. It's going to give you a good output, a good solid output. And because your battery's not being drained by an electric starter, it's only being drained by lights. You're going to get some seriously bright lights out of this bike. You're going to really enjoy it. So, and it's all regulated, which is also nice. It's not like, hit the throttle and things are going to get super bright and then go dim when it's on idle. So, keep that in mind. But that's pretty much what I got for you guys right now. And we're just going to keep plugging away at this bike, what do you call it, the 12-volt system. And I'm really excited about this. This came out really, really well. So we're just going to keep trucking at it and going from there. So thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. If you have any questions or any comments, by all means, please send them. And thank you. Please subscribe.